Hello lovelies, and welcome back to another video. And if this is your first time on my channel, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. Today we're going to be talking about a palette that I recently picked up from Nomad Cosmetics, and this is the Polar Express palette. It is such a beautiful palette with absolutely gorgeous packaging and a beautiful color story on the inside. And so I'm going to show you today some swatches. I'm going to show you how to create this beautiful look and share just some of my initial thoughts about the palette with you. I have heard so many good things about this palette from other YouTubers and from a lot of you in the comments on some of my other videos, telling me that this was your favorite palette, that you absolutely love the color story and just the looks that you're able to create with it. So of course I had to get my hands on it and try it out for myself, and I am so glad that I did. It is such a gorgeous palette, and the look that I created today, I'm so happy with it. So I can't wait to show you how I got this look and just the swatches and more of my thoughts about the palette. So come along with me and let's make up the rules. I'm really excited about the packaging on this palette. It is so beautiful. Just the outer package is so pretty. This is what the front looks like, and then on the back it shows the different shades. It's got a little bit of information. It says the destination is the North Pole. Of course, Nomad is a travel themed indie company, and so it's really cute that they kind of use this sort of magical place in this palette. I think that's really cool. The coordinates are the Polar Express, and then the inspiration is a Christmas classic. So this is just such beautiful packaging, such a beautiful design and idea for this palette. And then I absolutely love when you open the outer package and then you go to take the palette out. It's got a little hole there, and so you can see the train slide out. This is what the outer package looks like without the palette inside. And then this is the palette itself. It's so beautiful. It's got such beautiful gold print on it. It's just absolutely stunning. And then the color story inside is really gorgeous, and I really want to hold this up so you can see all of the beautiful embossing on these shades. It is so stunning when you open it in person, especially these two shades over here. The embossing on them, I hope you can see that, is so perfect. I'm so I almost don't even want to touch them. They're just so perfectly just pressed in here. Every single one of them came perfectly in the mail, so I'm really excited just to see all of the beautiful embossing. And I really want to take some swatches, so I am going to mess up the embossing, but I've taken lots of pictures and lots of videos just to immortalize just how perfect this palette is. So I'm really excited to go ahead and jump into those swatches and take a look at how all of these colors appear on the skin. This is such a gorgeous color story, and what I really like about this is I feel like it's really unique. There are definitely different kind of color sections in here, so you can make a lot of different versatile looks. We've got a lot of just kind of whites and silvers, a lot of blues, some neutrals, some reds, so there's definitely a lot of versatility and a lot of just kind of uniqueness to this color story, especially all of them being together in the same palette, and it's just really pretty. I really like that the reds in here are not very rich reds. They're honestly a little bit more neutral leaning also. I was thinking they'd be a little bit more red when I swatched them, but I definitely feel like they would go really well with all of these neutral shades in here and add maybe just a little extra color to a very neutral look. So I think that's really cool and very unique to this palette. The blues in here are absolutely stunning. They are so rich, so deep, so vibrant, and I'm really looking forward today to putting together a blue look and kind of matching my outfit that I have on, and really just playing with these blues and building up the pigment and building up the color. I love that there is a iridescent kind of white shimmer in here and also a white matte. That white shimmer, it's called All Aboard. It is really pretty, but when I swatched it, I expected it to have a little bit more depth to it. It was very light, very iridescent. It mostly went on clear with just little pops of shimmer in there and just a little bit of glitter. So it was really pretty. It was just a little bit different than I expected it to be. So definitely I think that would be a beautiful topper shade. I'm not even sure how well it would perform on the inner corner. It is so light and so just kind of iridescent. So it's a very pretty shade. It's just very light, and I think would add just a little bit of lightness and a little bit of extra shimmer to the top of a look. The white matte is beautiful. It's very pigmented and showed up really nicely on the swatch. So I'm always glad when I have a really nice, rich matte white. This Silver Bell shade is absolutely gorgeous. It's a nice, deep, rich silver, kind of metallic. So it's really, really pretty. So it was definitely hard to kind of mess up the embossments in here, but it was definitely worth it. The color payoff from these swatches was absolutely gorgeous, and I'm really excited to get to play with this whole palette. This Polar Express shade here in the middle, that namesake shimmer, is beautiful. It sort of shifts from purple to blue. So I'm really excited to play with that one today and put some of that on the lid and see how that performed. I'm really excited to go ahead and jump into our tutorial for today. I've gone ahead and primed my eyes with my Ulta Beauty Pigment Pop Eye Primer, so we are ready to go ahead and jump into our palette. And like I said, I'm wanting to do a really rich, beautiful blue look today, so I'm going to really be focusing right here on this column in the palette. I'm going to go in with a fluffy blending brush from Ulta Beauty, and I'm going to start out with this really deep blue shade here. This one is called Frozen Sea. It is so beautiful, so deep and rich. So I'm going to be very gentle-handed and just go in with my brush and just pick up just a little bit of pigment, and it definitely has a lot of kick up in the pan. So I'm just going to be really, really gentle and just apply more as I go. So now that I have the pigment on my brush, I'm just going to go into this very outer corner and really just start building up the pigment. And I did not pick up much on my brush at all, and you can definitely see it is very, very pigmented, very beautiful deep shades. So I'm going to be very, very light-handed, only picking up a little bit at a time, and really just kind of using my brush and just kind of patting it in so that I don't have a lot of fallout, and it's just very, very gentle on the eye. So just again tapping this in and just building this up. It is very, very pretty. It definitely looks like it's going to be very buildable and very just kind of easy to work into the skin and just really kind of build up that pigment. So that is absolutely stunning. It is such a beautiful deep blue shade. And I'm probably going to apply this on about the outer half of my eye, or maybe at least the outer third, and really just kind of get a nice deep smoky outer corner. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm just kind of blending it into my eye primer and just kind of into the skin and really just building it up so that I don't have a lot of patchiness. I want it to be nice and deep and sort of a solid shade here. That is so, so beautiful and so rich and deep. I'm going to go ahead and pop some on the other side, and I'll be right back. I'm absolutely loving this Frozen Sea shade. It is so, so pretty. I went ahead and also cleaned off my brush, and now we're going to go a little bit lighter into the blues, and we're going to go into this medium blue shade, and this one is called Desert of Ice. It is so beautiful and so stunning. I'm going to grab that same brush, again I cleaned it off, and I'm going to pick up just a little bit of pigment for this middle shade, and I'm going to just apply this on the middle part of my crease, kind of blending into that Frozen Sea shade. So just very light-handed and very gently with just a little bit of pigment, just kind of blending this right here in the very center of my crease. I don't want it to be too dark as I'm going towards the inner corner, so I'm going to keep this mostly towards the outer edge of my eye and really just kind of blending this into that other shade. I'm not using a lot of pigment, just a very, very small amount, just to kind of blend it in. And I'm using just a little bit just to create sort of an ombre transition as we're moving towards the inner corner. That is really pretty. I'm loving all of these blues. I went ahead and cleaned off my brush one more time, and then we are going to go into the lightest blue shade now. This one is called North Pole, and it is such a beautiful shade, just very nice and very light and icy, perfect for this palette and for the Polar Express. So again, just picking that up, and now I am moving this into the inner third of my lid or of my crease, and just really blending it into that other shade in the middle, and just kind of lightening up as we are moving towards the inner corner. So that is really pretty. And definitely these are all blending together very nicely. They are very similar shades of blue. Definitely just going from lightest to medium to dark and really creating a nice ombre effect across the eye. And I'm just kind of using circular motions just to really blend so I don't have any harsh lines, and everything just kind of is very cohesive across the eye. It's so pretty. I absolutely love these blues and how they're blending together. I think this looks really nice and is definitely very rich and very pigmented. That is absolutely stunning. I'm going to go ahead and pop some on the other eye. This look is turning out so pretty already. I'm loving all of these blue mattes together, and I'm ready to go ahead and add some shimmer. So I went in with my NYX glitter primer and went ahead and put some of that just all over my lid. And then I think for my main shimmer, I do want to go ahead and go in with this beautiful Polar Express shimmer. It is so pretty. I think you can see some of that shift there. It's got some blue and purple in there, so it is absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to go in with an Ulta Beauty Flat shadow brush, and I'm just going to pick some of this up and put this really on the center of my lid and just start to kind of build up some of the shimmer and some of the pigment just right here in the center. And then I do think I want to add another shimmer as I'm moving towards the inner corner. So I'm just going to kind of keep this right here in the middle and just kind of connecting this into those blue shades on the outer corner. That is such a pretty shimmer. It definitely has a lot of shift to it. It is very unique and very pretty. I don't have anything really like this shade in my collection, so this is a really nice shade. Especially I love blue and purple together. It's really pretty and just creates a very nice combination. That is so gorgeous. I absolutely love how this shimmer looks on the lid. I do think I want to add some of that Silver Bell shade as we're moving towards the inner corner on the lid. It's such a beautiful metallic silver, and I'm really excited to try this one out. So I'm just going to use that same brush. I'm just going to flip it over and use the other side and just pick up a little bit of this product on my brush and just going to apply it right here on this inner part of the lid, just kind of blending into that Polar Express shade and just creating a little bit of a transition in my shimmers and just getting lighter as we move towards the inner corner. Those are really pretty. I was a little scared that the metallic might be a little too strong, but it is very light on the lid and it's definitely blending in very nicely with that Polar Express shade. You really can't see any kind of line, and I didn't really have to blend very much. They just kind of seamlessly go into each other, so that's really nice and really pretty. I love these shimmers together. They're so beautiful. I do think I want to go into that All Aboard white shimmer shade in here that I talked about when I took the swatches. It's very light, very iridescent, and I think will be a really pretty topper shade. So I just want to try it out. I'm really excited about this color story and really want to try some of these shades out. So I'm just going to pick a little bit of that up on my finger, and I'm just going to pat that on the lid right over top these other shimmers and just add a little bit of a lightness and a little bit more of a glow to it. And I think it's just going to be really pretty, especially because the blues are so dark on the crease and in the outer corner with those mattes. I definitely want to have a very nice light shimmery look. So I'm just kind of putting a little bit of that on top of those other shimmers, and I think that looks really pretty and adds just a little extra bit of shimmer and glow to this look. That is really nice and really pretty. So now that we've kind of done the top of our lid, we're going to start moving down into the lower lash line. I'm going to go in with an Ulta Beauty Flat liner brush, and I think I want to pull a little bit of the neutrals into the lower lash line. I think if I do blue on the bottom, it's just going to be a lot of blue and very overpowering, and I want this to be a very pretty and very clean look. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go into this medium kind of brown shade right here. This one is Hot Cocoa. That is one of my favorite winter and cold season drinks. I absolutely love hot cocoa. I could drink that just about every day. I'd love to hear what your favorite cold weather drink is, but definitely hot cocoa. And my favorite hot cocoa is from Dunkin'. They have the best. And I definitely, when I go, I ask them to make it with milk. It's not as good if they make it with water, but when it's made with milk with some whipped cream on top, it is absolute heaven. So if you haven't tried it, I would definitely recommend that, especially if you like hot cocoa as much as I do. So I'm just taking this hot cocoa shade and I am just applying it just all the way under my lid, all the way across, and just kind of building up some color and some pigment. It is really pretty, even for just the medium neutral shade. It definitely has a lot of pigment and a lot of depth to it. So I think that's really nice and really pretty, and definitely is creating more of a neutral look to the lower lash line that's really kind of complementing that blue well. That is so pretty. I love how that looks under the lid. And so now I'm going to move into that darker brown shade. This one is called Dark Forest, and just going to kind of darken out and smoke out just sort of that outer third. So I'm using that same brush and just picking up just a little bit of product and then just applying this right in this outer corner of the lower lash line and just blending it into that hot cocoa shade just to create a little bit more darkness and depth, just to kind of smoke out this look. And I'm keeping it really on this outer corner. I don't want to make it too dark along the lower lash line. I just want to add a little bit more depth. That is so pretty. I do think I want to lighten up the lower lash line just a little bit. So I'm just going to take a cloth and just clean off my brush just a little bit here. And then I think I'm going to go in with one of our neutral shimmers and put that on the lower lash line. And I think I'm going to go with this lightest one here, Mr. C, just to give it just a little bit of lightness because that is such a dark lower lash line. So again, just using that same brush cleaned off in between and picking up a little bit of product on my brush. And then I'm going to go in with some setting spray and spray this just to give it a little bit of tackiness. And then I'm applying this just right here as it's moving towards the inner corner along the lower lash line, blending into that hot cocoa shade and just creating a little bit of lightness on the lower lash line. And you can definitely see that makes a really big difference because it just adds a little bit of glow to the lower lash line, especially because we have so much shimmer up on the top of the lid. It definitely really creates a little bit more dimension to the look. Very, very pretty. I love that Mr. C shade. It is so beautiful. It's a very light, kind of almost tan, slightly gold shade. Very pretty, and it just creates just a very nice light glow. This is so pretty. I love how this look is turning out. And I know I mentioned earlier while we were doing the swatches that I absolutely love a matte white, and I'm so glad that they have one in this palette. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. So I really want to use that as my inner corner highlight. I love a matte white in the inner corner. It's so pretty. So I'm going to go in with a Real Techniques detailing brush, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of that white shade. It's called Snowy Mountain. And I'm going to pick up just a little bit. I don't want a whole lot of pigment on my brush. And I'm going to apply this just right here on the inner corner. And it is very pigmented. I did not pick up a lot on my brush at all. I think I have plenty to be able to do both sides. And I think it's going to be probably more than enough. It is really, really pretty. I'm just kind of tapping my brush and just kind of packing that in and creating a little bit of lightness and depth here on the inner corner. That is so beautiful. Like I said, I love a matte inner corner highlight with white. It's just so pretty. It just pops so much and is just absolutely gorgeous. So again, just kind of blending that into the shades on the lower lash line and up in the crease so that I don't have any harsh lines, and just really tapping it in and building up that white. That is absolutely gorgeous. I love how this looks. So I'm going to go ahead and step off camera and add those finishing details, and I'll be back in just a moment to take a look at our final look. And here's the final look. I am so happy with this. I think it is such a beautiful look. For my details, I went in and I decided to kind of play on the blue theme that I had going on, and I decided to do a blue wing. For this, I used an LA Colors eye marker, and this is just in the shade blue. I picked this up at a Dollar Tree. And then I tightline on the top just to really pull on that blue. And to really define the upper lash line, I went in with an Ulta Beauty Collection automatic eyeliner. This is in the shade Royal Blue Shimmer. And then because I have the neutrals along the bottom lash line, I decided to go in with just a neutral eyeliner. And so for this, I went in with the Ulta Beauty Gel Eyeliner in the shade Buff Babe. And for my mascara, I went in with my Tarte Maneater Waterproof Mascara. So I really love how this looks. I think it's so pretty, so blue and unique. I think it's got a lot of lightness to it, even though some of the colors are really rich and deep and vibrant. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. So let me zoom you in for a closer look, and then I'll share some of my initial thoughts about this palette. I thought that the Nomad Cosmetics Polar Express palette was absolutely gorgeous. I think it is a really unique color story and really beautiful packaging. The outer carton, how the train kind of slides out as you pull the palette out of the box, is so pretty. I love just the uniqueness of how that's designed. And then you can also see the train or the Polar Express still inside the box when you take the palette out. I just think it's so cool and it's so fun, and it's just absolutely beautiful packaging on the outer carton. I love that the inner carton is just a little bit different, just the texture is a little different, and it just has a little bit of a different design to it than the outer carton. So I think that's really cool and really unique. A lot of times the outer carton and the inner cover of the palette tend to look the same, and so having them be a little bit different is always really cool. I love just the unique details, even just this outer trim looks like train tracks. It's just so creative and so beautiful and very well thought out. Of course, the little bell embellishment here is very pretty as well. And then just all of the gold and the shimmer on it is so nice. And then this color story, like I said, I think is just so unique. It's so different from any other color story that I have in my collection, and I think that's really cool. I always love when a color story is really unique and just kind of unexpected and gives you colors that you wouldn't have really thought of or maybe put together yourself. So I just love how rich and vibrant all of the shades in here are. I think it is absolutely stunning. This Polar Express shade is so beautiful and really just creates such a beautiful and dynamic look with the blue and the purple shimmer in it. And so I absolutely love this color story, and I really love the look that I created today. Just using this Nomad Cosmetics Polar Express palette, I just think that it performed very beautifully. Again, all of the pigments were just so beautiful and rich, and I think it really was just very lovely and very easy to use. So definitely this is one of my favorites, and I'm really excited to use this for winter time, Christmas time, and even just to create some neutral looks at other times of the year. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing me use and swatch the Nomad Cosmetics Polar Express palette. I really enjoyed getting to use this palette. I definitely see what all the hype is about. It is a beautiful palette with a very unique color story, and it was a lot of fun to get to use. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. I know I've heard from some of you already about this palette and how much you love it, and I would love to hear if you have tried it and what your thoughts are about it. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps out my channel when you do. And if you would like to see more makeup content and more makeup tutorials, swatches, reviews, all that good stuff, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd love to have you around. Until next time, let's be kind to each other, beautiful to ourselves, and never afraid to make up the rules.